Hello and welcome back to our garden. It is 2026, early January. We just finished about 3 weeks straight of lots and lots of rainy storms, and now we got a break. We want to share with you what we're planning with, some of our big projects for the year, starting with our raised beds. All right, and the reason we wanted to, or the reasons we wanted to do a lot of work here is twofold. First being that, as we mentioned in one of our previous videos, we had issue both with the soil, and in large part, the reason there was issue with the soil was the irrigation. So we're going to work on that for 2026. We're already started. One being, you can see here, the soil is much higher. We, instead of buying soil in bags from like a garden center nearby, we had soil delivered in bulk from a nearby company, which we then put into these raised beds as well as later other places to get a nice, good amount of soil at a relatively good price point. Then irrigation is a work in progress. As you can see, they're all kind of up and moved. We're going to be taking out these different irrigation spots and switching it up that hopefully will amend the issues we've had with irrigation not working as intended and making the soil very easy to become hydrophobic like it did last year. The second thing that we are wanting to do in these raised beds is, since we're doing a hard reset with irrigation and soil, we also wanted to add more vertical growing space. So this is the foundation for 2 sets of vertical trellises that we will be adding in, which will provide a lot more growing space. Our yard isn't that large to begin with, so doing more vertical growing should give us more space to grow, and therefore trying more plants and hopefully growing more food. All right, for the big trellises that we're adding, we have 2 of these 4 feet by 16 feet cattle panels that we got from a nearby hardware store, which was a challenge to get here. My vehicle couldn't fit them in, but luckily my cousin came through and helped us out and transported them in his large truck and trailer. Huge save. Family is awesome. But the plan is to attach these, bend them into the arch, onto the T-posts that are pushed down into the raised beds with soil around them. And because our area is so windy and it tends to move things around, we've also added cinder blocks underneath the raised beds where the T-posts go further into with soil to help keep it from moving too far, keep it a little bit more stable, so that even with our heavy winds, the trellises should be a bit more stable for us.
Let's do it this way, and it'll probably move it back towards you. And even if we set it on, it's gonna, we can lay it down, I guess, within this set of stakes. Let's move a little farther. I'm gonna open it. You know what? Well, we don't want to do that. I get right in the middle, so you could.
Like that?
No, you.
Oh, and start bending it?
Yes, yes. So you don't twist it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Should have pre-bent it.
there to that side.
Okay. Get it up high and then just bend it in.
Yeah, and just walk it in.
You can hold, I can try to navigate that.
There you go. Right in the middle, right? Yeah. So you got it where you want over there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start walking it back across.
Okay.
There we go.
Actually,
You could help there because it's pushing.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, you can get your end.
Yeah.
You can let go of this one there.
okay.
Oh,
It's quite the arch you have here.
Yeah, that was the idea. But
Stakes are coming up
yeah,
already.
they're not as. All right, so as you can see, we have added to the garden here in our raised beds 2 big trellises. They are 16-foot long but bended over cattle panels, one here, going through or covering our walkway. So we should be able to grow up on each side and get a lot more vertical growing. It was an interesting ordeal. My cousin helped get us the materials delivered via his big work truck. And then with my dad visiting, he helped us move and place them in the beds. We have T-posts at each end, so 4 total for each trellis. And then we've used some galvanized wire to help tie them together. We have them in the middle right now just to help get the shape established. Later, we might add them up here, take these and add them up here just to have some more growing space and help ensure the stability, given that this area gets a lot of wind. But yeah, hopefully when we see this in the summer, it'll have plants growing up. All right, so our third project for this rather warm winter has been to work on the irrigation in these raised beds. Last summer, if you remember in some earlier videos, didn't work so well and we couldn't use it as consistently. It caused issues and we ended up with pretty hydrophobic soil, and we decided we're gonna switch it out and do a whole new system, simplify it. And so we now have, instead of individual thin spaghetti irrigation tubing, we have the thicker hose that has holes every foot that lets out water. In addition, we have just nice straight lines, 3 per bed, roughly a foot between each other, not quite, but close enough, that should provide enough irrigation and also pretty simple to plant and dig and maneuver around, since it's just 3 parallel lines going through the irrigation setup. In our stone circle raised bed, formerly the spiral raised bed, now just a beautiful circle, we added another layer of rocks and built up the soil a little higher. We'll probably come back and add some more soil here and there now that it's compacted. And this test run has highlighted that although the irrigation is running, we'll have to add a few more spots to get every area irrigated. But so far, so good. All right, and we just finished taking off the wires that we had inside here. We used them to actually tie to these longer poles that we put in the center just to provide a little extra stability. But it's survived a big windstorm we had a little while ago, so we're pretty confident that it's going to hold. And we've already planted some stuff along the base. So hopefully the next video will have veggies growing up. And that concludes our 3 projects for this last winter, where we've put new soil in. We've raised the soil level, put new soil in, kind of reset the bed. We reset the irrigation, which so far has been working well. We did have a few little things here and there with the connectors, but we're working on that. It's been good this last night. And then lastly, the big arch, which I can reach to the top just barely. That is so far a success. All right, so thank you again for joining us on this series of adventures, and we look forward to seeing you again in a future video when hopefully we've got plenty of veggies growing up our big trellises. See you next time.